Just because we're not home and we're on the road or flying somewhere does not mean that we do not need to be prepared. Today, we're diving into ways to stay prepared even when you're traveling, whether it be to grandma's house or to Cancun, Mexico. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Row. Today, we're diving into travel safety and preparedness. But when you travel by car, the nice thing is you can actually take a lot of preps with you. If you have a get home bag, a bug out bag, that kind of stuff, you can just literally throw that in the back of your car as you're going. Another nice thing about car travel is it makes it very, very easy to take a handgun or a pistol caliber carbine, some kind of a defensive rifle, preferably a handgun, in my opinion. A word of caution, if you are traveling to a state that has very restrictive handgun laws, California, Illinois, New Hampshire just passed me, one's New York, some of those, be very careful, make sure you're within the law. But for the most part, even if you can't keep the firearm on your person, even if you can't keep it, say, in the glove box or in the console, or maybe you have a safe just off the console, even if you can't do that, even in the most restrictive states, you can still keep it locked, unloaded, in a safe, secure place in your trunk, so that if, granted, if you're mugged or something, it's not going to help you. But if there's a real SHTF type situation, you could obviously pull it out, get ready to use it if you needed to. And the other benefit of that is if you are staying like in a hotel, for example, at night, you can bring it into the hotel that acts as your residence. I am not a firearms attorney, so do with that what you will. I'm not providing you legal advice, but yeah, check the state rules and regulations wherever you are. Really, the biggest dangers of driving generally are bad conditions at night. So those are your highest risk times, particularly in the evening when it's first getting dark up until 2 or 3 a.m. when the drunk drivers hit the road. Avoid those times if it's at all possible. As you're going from place to place, again, know where you're going, have your routes planned ahead. I know we all rely on our phones, we rely on GPS. If it's a new place and you're not sure the path, it doesn't hurt to print out directions ahead of time. Plan your accommodations such that you're staying in safe areas. When you're not, when you go up to your hotel room at night, make sure to lock the car, park it under a street light, park it where hopefully from the hotel you can actually see the car. If not the end of the world, but lock it up, make sure there's no valuables visible. When you park it in a parking garage or a valet or something, just don't leave anything valuable in your car. Now, many of you are like, well, I'm flying, so I can't take my gun. That's not actually true. I have flown several times now and taken a firearm with me, and you can legally do that. There are procedures that airlines make you take to secure the firearm and check it. You basically have to check the firearm in a locked case. Every airline has a little bit different rules around it, but I've done it a couple times and I've had no issues at all with it. Plan an extra 15, 20 minutes during check-in to do it, but you declare it. It has to be, again, these are general rules because every airline's slightly different, but you have to have it unloaded. The ammunition has to be separated from the gun. So the gun has to be completely unloaded. It's actually easier if you leave the gun open so they can verify the chamber is empty when it goes through the x-ray machine. Tell them, I want to declare a firearm when you're checking in. Most of them will say, okay, no, totally understand. You need to know the regulations from the airline better than they do, because a lot of them they're not really good at it. So print out the regulations, take them with you to the airport, makes it so much easier when you can literally show them on paper. This is how you do it. Now, international travel. If you are traveling internationally, obviously it's very hard to take a firearm because most countries are much more restrictive than the United States when it comes to Second Amendment issues. So you're probably not going to be able to take it. It is what it is. Couple things that you do internationally, couple things you want to plan in advance. One is transportation. Don't rely on taxis at the airport, Ubers from the airport. If you're flying internationally, the best thing you to do is book with a reputable transfer service from the airport to your hotel, resort, whatever it might be. Plan in advance. Don't make it last minute. Don't just be like, oh, there's taxis at the airport. When you are traveling internationally, wherever tourists come, that's where con men and other folks that are going to try to take your money through nefarious means, that's where they go. So when you land, if you just A very common thing, for example, here in Mexico and also in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, that we've even witnessed. It hasn't happened to us because I booked ahead, but the taxis at the airport will try to get you to go with them. And as they're loading your stuff in the car, they'll agree on a price. Then when you get to the location you're going to, then they will say, no, 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 that wasn't 200 pesos. That was supposed to be 400 pesos. You misunderstood. Now you've got this very awkward negotiating thing where they're trying to take, essentially, they're trying to change the deal. When you are traveling internationally into places, definitely check, be aware that your luggage may have challenges getting to you on time. When you land, a lot of people say if you travel internationally, only use carry-ons. And we've never done that. We've always checked bags because I have to. My wife, you can't. A suitcase has to be 45 pounds. If it's not 45 pounds, then more stuff has to go into it. So with that, we've always checked bags. And it's actually never been an issue. Last time in Punta Cana, we waited for about 45 minutes for our bag to get from the plane to the carousel to pick up. This time in Cancun, it was already off the carousel and stacked separately from the newer arriving flights by the time we got through immigration. Definitely budget time for the immigration and the whole immigration customs desk that you have to go through. That can take the longest we've ever had that happen. One time in the Dominican, it took us about 50 minutes to get through the line. So plan some time for that. Again, book your shuttling if you have to ahead of time. And as much fun as getting to a location and saying, well, we'll figure out what to do based on what people tell us when we're there. And that's a great, that can be a good way to do it, but there's a little bit of caution there because you don't know. Straight that way, which you cannot see right now, is Isla Mujeres, which is a beautiful island a couple miles off the coast here in Cancun. And they have, catamarans and other boats that will take you out to Isla Mujeres and do tours, snorkeling excursions, all that stuff. But you don't know in advance if it's a good one or not. And if you book it at the resort, the booking at the resort is better than other options. But if you go online ahead of time, again, TripAdvisor, Viator, some of those websites where you can actually find the specific excursion, the specific experience that you want to experience, and you can see the reviews. Make sure it's a reputable company. Make sure that any of the comments or reviews, particularly the negative ones, look at the negative ones. The positive ones usually are just like, it was a great experience, I loved it, yay. But look for the negative ones where they didn't have a good time and see if that is a one-off, their particular attitude or maybe influence their review. But maybe they had a legitimate, hey, I couldn't walk upstairs and there were tons of stairs, so I really didn't enjoy it. When you have to leave stuff in your room, if you can, use the built-in safes. A lot of times there's safes in the hotel rooms. Better than nothing. They're not great. But there's two sides to the hotel safe. One is if you put something in the safe and it's locked, that tells the employees that there's something valuable in the safe that you wanted to put in the safe. The other option is just to hide it in your bags. The worst thing you can do is leave the stuff sitting around. Leaving cash around unless it's a tip, leaving high-end electronics, video camera equipment like this that we're using today, that kind of stuff, high-dollar stuff. If you just leave it sitting out, not everybody's going to do this, but there are folks that will just pick it up and walk out, unfortunately. One other thing you want to consider when you're traveling internationally or just traveling at all is weather. I mean, we talked about it if you're driving to grandma's house, watching for icy conditions, snow, etc. But, here in Cancun, in the Caribbean, from what I think hurricane season starts in July. So from July until December, November-ish, it's hurricane season. So if you are booking travel in that time frame, consider paying for travel insurance. I know, like for the trip we just booked, I think travel insurance was $260-ish, which can be a huge add. But if you're booking it at a time, or if you in your personal life are in a situation where you might have to consider canceling or modifying your reservation, consider travel insurance. It can be good. People I've met on my travels, they've genuinely, in general, and genuinely been good folks who've been, nice to get to meet and talk with and everything else. But just be aware that not everybody is what they seem. Don't let people into your hotel room. Don't give people too much personal information. If you're out at the pool, like here, make sure that you don't have your credit cards, IDs, phones, easy to get to, visible, etc. A common scam that's happening really globally now is RFID skimming, where they will skim your RFID off the little chips on your credit cards and stuff. I may have missed something. If I did, again, all of you seasoned travelers, leave a comment below. I'd really, really appreciate your additional advice. If you did end up enjoying this video, please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we'll see you next time.